So, who started this? An instrument, his name is George Erie, in 1865. So the history of science tells us that the theory of mountains having deep roots was introduced only in 1865 by astronomer Professor George Erie. Okay. Who is George Erie? He's an astronomer. But what was his position in order to figure, in order to know that we are in front of a scientist who was really respected, who used to have a high position in USA, so that when we get his notes about the mountains, we take them with confidence. George Erie, before this time, there was nothing about the formation, about the morphology of the mountains. Okay, so it started at that time by this astronomer George Erie. Okay, let us come to the description of the mountain. To the description of the mountain.
بعدها مرة ثانية في الوسط.
Next. Press the button.
So, as I said, George Erie is the one who started to explain the morphology of the mountains. 1865, and we are going to discuss we are going to give you an idea about the scientist who explained the roots of the mountains. His name is Press, and we will talk about him. So, this is a figure about the different layers of the Earth. We have here the continental crust. We have here the tops of the mountains. We have here the root, or the roots of the mountains. We have here the mantle. What are these different layers? Okay. This is the crust. And this is the mantle. The mantle is a semi-liquid, sticky layer, upon which the crust locates. So the mountains send their roots deeply into the crust and the mantle. Okay? We have here more than 50 kilometers deeply inside the crust of the earth. So mountains have deep roots under the surface of the ground. And this is in a book. This is in a book authored under the title Earth, authored by Press and Sefer, page 413. Okay. So, we have another picture here, another figure. This is about Europe. And you see that the crust of the earth and the roots of the mountains embedded deeply into the earth. This is the earth. The mountains of earth and with these deep roots. And this is the mantle of the earth. So, this figure shows that the mountains have deep roots embedded in the ground. This is from a book under the title Anatomy of the Earth by Calliops, page 220. Okay. So, now we find through the scientists, through the books of geography, through the geologists, that the mountains have roots. Okay? So, this started not before 1865 AD. Before that time, people think that these mountains are just only masses of rocks on earth. That's it. So, who described these mountains? And I made a mistake about the name of the person. Who started saying that the mountains have roots? Okay, Professor Emeritus Frank Press said in his book entitled Earth that mountains have underlying roots. These roots are deeply embedded in the ground, thus mountains have a shape like a pick. Okay, so the roots of the mountains are similar to the picks. Who said this? Professor Press.
Non-Muslim brothers.
Who is this guy? As I said, now, he is the advisor, the science advisor to the former president of USA, Jimmy Carter. And he was the president of the National Academy of Sciences for 12 years. He was the president of the National Academy of Sciences in America for 12 years. And he was also the advisor, the science advisor to the former president Jimmy Carter. So, we are taking this information from our respected scientists, not from any normal man. So these scientists confirm that the roots of the mountains embedded inside the earth are like the pits. Okay. So,